everyone, this is Tamara from shelfaddiction.com and welcome to episode 112. Tonight I'm interviewing author Piper J. Drake. Piper, or known as PJ, began her writing career as PJ Schneider, writing award-winning sci-fi and paranormal romance and steampunk. She has received the FF&P Prism Award for her work, as well as the NJRW Golden Leaf Award and Parsec Award for her writing in podcast form. Now Piper writes romantic suspense, incorporating her interest in mixed martial arts and the military into her writing. Once a month until February, I'll be exclusively chatting with some of the authors that will be in attendance at Coastal Magic Book Convention, located in Daytona Beach, Florida in February 2018. Tickets are still available, but quantities are limited, so grab yours now. For those of you that want to know more, I have a link below in the show notes, or you can go to coastalmagicconvention.com. Hey, Piper, may I call you PJ?
Yes, you can.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of course, my pleasure. So let's jump right on in. Obviously, you're a writer, but let's talk about some of the other things you do before we get into your books. So you're a podcaster as well?
I am. I have a show called Every Minute, Everywhere, Time Management for Authors. Although you don't have to be an author to take advantage of the time management shenanigans. I definitely invite people to come and take a listen to how I manage my time. Unfortunately, I'm not like Hermione. I don't have a time turner, but I so want one.
Don't we all? I am like a time fanatic. Like I plan. I have a million planners, so I can kind of relate to time management in a serious way. So,
and I have, and planners are a whole nother can of worms. I actually have on EME Piper, I like to call it, on Every Minute Everywhere, an interview with a couple of other authors about just gushing about planner love.
Oh, it's a thing. It's like a whole community. It's crazy.
You know what? And they're my people. They get me.
Okay, so look, what planner are you in right now? What are you using?
Okay, so planner happiness for me is complicated. Right? So from a monthly view, I use an Erin Condren monthly planner because I love the color and I like the spread. But day to day, I do use electronic and digital apps. So I actually use an app for mobile devices and computer called Habitica. And Habitica gamifies basically your to-dos so that you have like habits you want to develop each day or over time. And then you also have like your daily things that you know you definitely absolutely must do. And then I have a to-do list. And what it allows me to do is kind of RPG style, kind of gamify life and like go on quests against monsters with friends and things like that. So I use Habitica day to day, but then when I'm plotting for my books, I use traveler's notebooks. So I am such a sucker for the Cheek Sparrow sidekick.
Oh, nice.
And I also have a couple of wides as well. And what I do is I use those traveler notebook inserts to carry my outline with me when I travel. So like I have like 2-page spreads that carry my notes for my outlines for my books or my research. And then when I go on research trips, I have another insert that I use to like kind of travel journal, take notes about the place that I was at so that I can go back and remember and incorporate that into my books.
Wow. I love that. I'm telling you, you are like my sister from another mother. I'm telling you.
Very happy to always find the sisters of the heart, especially when it comes to planners.
Oh, I know. It's a thing. So tell me a little bit about what you're reading right now.
Oh, what I'm reading right now. I'm going to admit, like, I'm very much a comfort reader. And I usually don't read the same genre that I'm currently writing. And currently I'm writing romantic suspense. So I just recently reread the Anne Bishop Black Jewels trilogies. I just really love that dark fantasy and, oh my gosh, the heroes in that story. And then I've also been taking some sneak peeks, getting ready for Katie Robert has a suspense kind of almost thriller-ish kind of story set. So she has Hunting Grounds coming out, I believe it's called. I'm going to have to look that up for you, and hopefully we can include it in show notes. But she has Hunting Grounds coming out this month. So I was reading the first book in the series, The Devil's Daughter. And, there's just that Katie is so flexible, and she has like this really, really awesome, she's I guess, publishing house sister. She and I are both out of Forever, and she has the O'Malley series, which is a really fun, set in Boston, kind of mafia crime lord kind of set of stories in romance. And so when she came out with The Devil's Daughter and Hunting Grounds, I was so excited.
Oh, that's cool. So I love urban fantasy and paranormal romance. It's one of my favorite genres. And I know you wrote that before you jumped into suspense. Is that right?
I did. As PJ Schneider, I wrote sci-fi romance and paranormal romance. My paranormal romance is how I started my publishing career with Decadent Publishing. I had the Terra's Guardian series, which was Shapeshifters. And then with Carina Press, I also had a short set of novellas. That was the London Undead series, which was, like the zombie apocalypse and werewolves hunting zombies to save humans.
Ooh, wow.
It was fun.
That's a really interesting mashup right there. I like it. Very cool. So tell me a little bit, how did you morph from fantasy type writing into romantic suspense?
Some of it is about timing when it comes to author careers and what's out there and what publishers are interested in hearing. And I had hit a spot right after the London Undead series where I was ready to try something new. And several of the editors said, paranormal is a little slow right now. And while we love your paranormal and we like your writing, we think it would translate really well to romantic suspense, which is sort of on an uptick. Are you willing to give it a try? And I like to be agile. Some people might think of it as selling out, but more along the lines of I like to be agile. I was like, you know what? Let me read a couple of romantic suspense books. So I went out, and the first book that caught my eye blurb-wise was Laurie Foster's Getting Rowdy.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of loved it, right? So I was like, okay. And Laura Kay had just come out with her Hard Ink series, and it was so much fun reading those that I was like, yeah, I'd be very happy to give this a try. So I took a little closer look at what makes a suspense plot, and I started thinking, this is kind of like Reese's peanut butter cups for me. I got the chocolate and the peanut butter, got the romance and the suspense. Let's make this happen. Yeah. And they liked it. And so I ended up with 6 books contracted in a year. I don't recommend that for anybody with a day job.
You were probably not sleeping very much.
I was losing my mind.
Oh, no.
But at the same time, it's just such a great way to go, right? Like champagne problems. So I really, really enjoyed writing both the Safeguard series with Carina Press and the True Hero series with Forever. And I have to say, I really, really enjoy romantic suspense. I really, really do.
Yeah. So I feel the passion through your voice. That's awesome, though.
Thank you. I miss paranormal romance too, so don't think that I've given up for good. It's definitely my desire to go back to paranormal romance as well. If there's one thing that I like to have is, a variety. There is cake. The cake is not a lie.
Awesome. That's very cool. So as far as you mentioned that you read some romantic suspense titles, kind of before you dived in. Would you say that you kind of have certain authors that have influenced the style that you write this in? Or do you kind of just do your own thing, but you kind of just, I don't know, got some inspiration, I guess, from some other authors?
Well, it's kind of a funny gray area, right? Because you want to understand the genre and do your homework before you start writing in it. But at the same time, you don't want to accidentally echo someone else's work. Right. Yeah. And since I was new to romantic suspense, it was important that I find my own voice. So once I read, Laurie Foster and Laura Kay, I stepped away from reading any other romantic suspense at the moment. Right. And and really just kind of studied the plot structures for suspense, because the plot structure for suspense is different from mystery, right? So like a mystery is kind of your Scooby-Doo thing where you go through the entire thing running in and out looking for clues and having, tense moments where you're running into the bad guy but you don't know who it is, and right at the end it's like, ta-da, your bad guy really is
Right.
it was so and so all along, right? Whereas suspense, you kind of find out earlier on in the plot, right? It could be midway or towards the end of Act 2, and then the rest of the book is your characters reacting to having found out, right? So that was fascinating for me to learn. And so I purposely decided to take the suspense beats, not mystery, because that wasn't what I was going for, but suspense beats, and combine that with the character development of a really fun but fast-paced romance.
So with your True Heroes series, that's romantic suspense, but it also has some unique things in it. I'm looking at the cover art for all 3 books, and I'm like, okay, I see dogs, I see guns, I see hot guys, and I also know I see some military tags. So you've got a couple different things going on. Do you want to share a little bit about your series overall?
Sure. So True Heroes really features ex-military heroes, veterans, and it's about second chances. So almost all of them are starting new lives for themselves, and I created Hope's Crossing Kennels, where they could come and become dog trainers. And so as they're building new lives for themselves, they're also training military working dogs, or dogs for other types of service as the series evolves, right? So it's not just military working dogs. These dogs could be police dogs. They could be service dogs that actually help veterans. Any number of things. So the idea there was that you would have that second chance. And I wanted to match them with heroines with different kinds of personalities and strength. I love, and I have written, especially in the Safeguard series, some really kick-ass heroines.
I love strong heroines.
Oh, yeah. I think you'll like a couple of my heroines in the Safeguard series then, too, or some of the upcoming True Heroes books. But for the first 3 of the True Heroes books, I created heroines that were more of a match and more of a stabilizing set, because there are different types of strengths out there, right? Like a heroine doesn't have to be kick-ass to be strong.
Right.
It could take strength just to reinvent yourself, or to start over again, or to take that step that you never took before, because there are always 100 reasons why not before. But now you're going to do it anyway.
Right.
So there's 100 different ways to be strong. And so I considered each of the heroes and each of the heroines and paired them up so that they complemented each other in their strengths.
That's nice. I like that, because I do like, like I said, I do love a strong kick-ass heroine. I like someone that knows themselves, but I agree with you. You can also be a strong woman and not be like, I don't know, the baddest bitch, if you know what I'm trying to say. It's like you can still be strong and not be, in your face, or how to be a support system as well and still be strong. So that's kind of cool.
Another author who does that really well, like Nalini Singh's Side Changeling series. Can we give her some love? Because, oh my gosh.
Everyone loves that series. I haven't read it yet. It's on my TBR. I feel like a bad urban fantasy reader because I haven't read it.
No. You know what? You're never bad because that just gives you more stuff to read, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, from a paranormal romance standpoint, she has the angels and vampires kind of thing going on with one series, and then she has a Side Changeling series. And can I tell you, I didn't read romance growing up, right? I didn't read romance until around, 2008, 2010. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But when I started to get into romance, C.L. Wilson was my intro into fantasy romance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought it was fantasy, started reading it, loved it, and found out that it was actually fantasy romance. So then I was hungry to try out other romance, right?
Right.
So it was right around the holidays, and you know those awesome holiday anthologies that like introduce you to a whole bunch of new authors.
Oh yeah.
I took advantage of that and I picked up The Magical Christmas Cat. And one of the stories in there was a short story from Nalini Singh's Side Changeling series. And I was addicted from then on to Nalini Singh and the Side Changelings and all the different hero heroine combinations. She has heroines that are so strong in some ways and not kick-ass in the other, and then sometimes they're kick-ass heroines, and then sometimes there's not, and then sometimes they're dominant and sometimes they're not, sometimes they're submissive and sometimes they're not, and each and every one of them is just such a great pairing for the alpha heroes that she creates. Like, oh, it's delicious.
That's awesome. Okay, that just got pushed a little bit higher on my TBR list. Thanks to you.
At least make time for a short story. Like, slip a short story in there.
Yeah.
You know, like the short story that got me addicted was The Stroke of Enticement. And
I'm gonna jot that down.
Right, and it's a quick read. It's just a taster, right? Just the first hit's free.
Oh my gosh, and that's all it takes usually. Yeah. So with your series though, like, are your heroines like, obviously these guys are alphas, right? Or are they? Are some of them not? Okay, they are.
So in the True Hero series, all the heroes are alphas. In Safeguard, the second book, Deadly Testimony, I do experiment with a really, really strong alpha heroine. And the hero, while he isn't submissive per se, he definitely isn't the active player. Like, she's the bodyguard, and he's the one that needs to be protected. But he does do some watching of her back.
Okay.
Right.
He's got to, right? We don't want him to, he's got to do a little something.
Oh, he's a match for her. Trust me. There's a hot hotel scene where they start sparring. Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Oh my. Okay. Very cool. So, since we're talking about the romance and things that are fun, so what do you think the heat level is on your True Hero series?
See, heat levels are so relative. It's hard for me to say because having read Laura Kay's Hard as Ink books, right? Hard as It Gets is the one that I read first. I would say that I'm not quite as hot as Laura Kay. She writes some hot, awesome scenes. And I'm a little bit more sweet.
Is it open door, though? You can,
It's open door and explicit.
Okay.
It's open door. It's explicit. It's just not quite as hot as Laura can get. But at the same time, I think I end up a little bit hotter than, say, some of Jill Chalvis's, like, Lucky Harbor books. So, like, I'm in the middle there. You know, a lot of my readers have said that they're very happy with the hot steaminess. So I think it's very relative. Personally, I try to explain it as, like, sweet yet very explicit.
Okay. That's cool. So there's nothing, like, really too graphic going on, but they have a good time, basically.
They have a very good time. I'm detailed about it because one of the pieces of advice I give to guys is to read romance and particularly take notice of their girl's favorite books and even take her book and kind of drop it on a table to see what her favorite scene is. That's an instruction manual. And
you know what? That is the best advice ever. Every guy that could be listening, listen to PJ. She knows what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah. And so I write my scenes accordingly, and they are instruction manuals for the right guy.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, my gosh. That is great advice. I'm telling you. I'm going to keep that one for later. I'm going to tuck that away for later in case I need it.
Right?
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what's the most recent release in this series that we're showcasing here today?
Okay, so the most recent release for True Heroes is Absolute Trust. Absolute Trust is the culmination of the 3 books, but it's not the end. Absolute Trust features the owner of Hope's Crossing Kennel, Brandon Forte, and his childhood sweetheart, Sophie. And Sophie is a fun character because she's feisty. She's been throughout the books as someone who's kind of taken care of and provided comfort food for. She loves to cook. But she's a very, very practical person who went into accounting because that was a solid career, but she dreams of opening a bed and breakfast. And she's the heart of Hope's Crossing Kennels. And Brandon Forte has been, had left after high school and come back and they'd never stepped over that line of friendship. And then somebody tries to blow Sophie up.
Oh, oops.
All
Okay.
bets are off at this point. All bets are off.
Oh, I bet.
And of
Wow.
course, you have the special dog, right? So Brandon Forte is working with a dog as the trainer, one of the trainers at Hope's Crossing Kennel. And Hayden is actually suffering from a little bit of PTSD. He lost his left front foreleg to an IED
Oh.
overseas, and he also lost his handler. So he's getting over that. He's learning how to walk again. And he's fine on 3 legs, but a prosthetic will give him added mobility in certain instances. So they are getting him used to a prosthetic. So I do explore that and explore what Hayden means to Sophie and Brandon as they're going through this. And Hayden is also a military explosives detection dog. So he's the hint that saves Sophie's life when the car bomb goes off.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I
Amongst
liked
other
it.
things throughout the book.
Yeah. Okay, so can someone jump in with absolute trust, or do all of these stories like touch each other in a way that they need to start from the beginning?
I'm going to give you a regulatory pharmaceutical research and development answer and say it depends. And the reason why I say it depends is because the story stands alone. It starts, it goes through, and it finishes on its own, right? But there are cameos from previous characters and cameos from other people in the world that I built around Hope's Crossing Kennel that some people will say, oh, I kind of wish I'd been introduced to them previously so I knew what their story was. So it depends on if you have a pet peeve about knowing all the characters and coming in fresh, or if you're cool with knowing that those characters existed before and that those are cameos, then yeah, the story itself stands alone. Okay. Sophie and Brandon's romance stands alone.
Okay, how about the other two? Are those both also treated in the same fashion where you don't have to read the other ones?
Yes, I try to design my story so that you can jump in anywhere, but hopefully are tempted to go read the rest of the series.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, if you check out the cover art, you'll probably want to read all of them because the guys are hot on here. Yeah.
Although I'll give you a little behind the scenes thing. When we first started talking about the cover, authors usually don't have a lot of input on the covers, but Forever was really, really kind in allowing me to specify some certain pet peeves. So if you look through the progression of the covers, you can see on Extreme Honor that the dog is a Belgian Malinois. I was like, I don't care what Hawkeye you put on the cover, but you got to get the dog breed right. And they did. They totally did. Awesome. They got me a Belgian Malinois. And they asked, they're like, do the dogs have to be that scary looking? And I'm like,
yes.
For the purpose of the types of working dogs these are, yeah.
Yeah.
And Belgian Malinois are a little sharper looking than German Shepherd dogs, right? Like German Shepherd dogs, I think people have it in their mind that they're just a touch safer. Because you see a lot of pictures of German Shepherd dogs with like bunnies sitting on their heads and ducklings crawling over them.
That's so funny that you mentioned that does the dog need to look so dangerous? Like, yes. I mean, okay, so on the cover you have this guy, again, with the Humvee in the back, it looks like a dangerous situation. He's got a firearm, and you're going to have like a Labradoodle next to him? No, that won't work.
I mean, there are pictures of German Shepherds, German Shepherd dogs that are a little softer and fluffier. Yeah. So I do get that. I do. But at the same time, these dogs had to have an edge to them. And then the next 2 dogs in the series, you'll notice that they were very careful to keep them German Shepherd dogs. And in Absolute Trust, Hayden's a black German Shepherd dog, and they managed that for me.
Yeah.
They also managed trigger etiquette because in the first book, there's kind of bad trigger etiquette on the front cover. So if you follow Mike Cole or some of the other military fantasy authors out there, they do have a pet peeve about trigger etiquette on the cover. And I did feedback about it, but obviously it was too late to change the first cover. But in the second and third cover, trigger etiquette's pretty good. Yeah. So I was very excited about that. So they do pay attention to certain things for you if you can get your feedback in early enough. But at the same time, you got to be flexible and realize that some things just aren't doable.
Yeah, for sure.
So
how many more books? How many more books should we expect in this series?
At least 3 more. The next 3 start April of next year, April 2018, with Total Bravery, and there's. Those of you who read Absolute Trust will get a sneak peek introduction to the hero for Total Bravery. And there's a change of venue. We step away from Hope's Crossing Kennels and we go to Hawaii.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
Hawaii is a sexy place, so I could see some romance happening there.
Oh my gosh, it's so sexy. I just went to Hawaii early May, April, May. It kind of washed together, but this spring to do some research. And I'm not kidding you. Like, we were staying at the Hilton Grand Vacation Resort in Waikiki, and it's literally shown at the beginning of every episode of Hawaii Five-0.
Oh, wow.
Every episode. And it cracks me up because I just keep watching Hawaii Five-0 now, and I'm like, this is crazy because I never watched it before I went. And the first day that we were there, the first thing you do is you check into the hotel, and you walk down and go find yourself a fruity drink with an umbrella, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
Celebrate the moment that you're here in this awesome vacation place. And there was an arrest going on 2 tables over from us as we were having our drinks.
Whoa.
So we were like, whoa, happening right now here in front of us.
Oh my gosh. That's got to blow your mind a little bit. Like, welcome to your vacation, or, whatever.
Well, my boyfriend, those people who've known me in the industry knows Matthew J. Drake has been with me a long time, and he's military. So he had just, I was clueless. Right, they were doing it so quietly and discreetly, like, I didn't notice. And he just starts chuckling into his drink, and he's got this awesome, awesome voice. Like, if you ever have a chance to listen to him on podcast, he gives good voice.
Okay.
I'm so in. I get so hot and bothered over my own boyfriend.
That's a good thing. That's rare. It's a good thing.
But so he chuckles into his drink, and he goes, "That is the most considerate and quiet arrest I've ever seen taking place." And I'm like sitting there like, what? And he's like, okay, be discreet, but turn around slowly. And of course I'm not discreet about it. I'm like, what? And there's police standing there talking to this table full of vacationing businessmen. And wow. They're talking, and then another police officer comes in, and then I look outside because we were kind of sitting out on the patio area, outdoor patio area, and there's this woman standing next to an officer, and literally right next to me, she was photobombed in a photo that Matthew J. Drake took of me.
Wow.
She was right there, and she's pointing out this guy, and then the next thing you know, they ask him to stand up, and they cuff him, and they walk him out, and all of his friends are like, what's going on?
Oh, no.
And it was all done super quietly. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there were other people in the restaurant that never noticed.
Wow. That's how arrest should go down. Come on, no one needs to know what's happening over here. Let's just,
it does not need to be a dramatic thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here first day, first hour.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Well, hopefully that didn't set any kind of odd pace for your time in Hawaii. It was good from then on.
It was beautiful, and it was kind of really interesting to see that drama going on, and it turned out the guy really did deserve it, so that it wasn't an unfortunate mix-up or anything like that. We got the story from the waitress. Apparently, the man had been on the beach a couple of hours earlier and he groped a child, and
oh my God,
the mother was pointing him out because one of the relatives had accidentally gotten video of him doing it.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
How, playing in the water,
yeah.
and you're videoing your kid going by, and the video includes this guy doing the thing, and so the police knew exactly him. He hadn't changed or anything, right? It was very clear, and they just discreetly took him out.
Yeah, take him away, throw away the key.
Exactly. And so that was kind of an eye-opening whoa. And then if you're with somebody like Matthew J. Drake, and he knows my creative process, and my little mind is going on and on and on always. I've always got this little part of my mind that I call my little mind secondary brain, right? That's always churning with the stories.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an onigiri place, they make rice balls and snack balls and musubi and stuff that we would stop in to get quick, inexpensive snacks to keep us alive as we're going touring all over the place, because I eat like a hobbit. I'm always hungry. And we go in, we buy a couple of rice balls that look really yummy to me, with different kinds of filling, and come out, and he starts chuckling again. And I'm like, okay, what'd you see? And he's like, you didn't notice the fake wall? I'm pretty sure that business has a secondary thing going on, whether that's legal or illegal. there was a fake
Wow.
wall.
Oh
And I'm
my
like, what fake
gosh.
wall? So the next
Oh my
day, I'm like
gosh.
looking around, I'm like trying to see this fake wall. Like, this man notices things that I just don't notice.
Oh wow. Oh my gosh. Actually,
He's
that's kind of cool because then you're going to be aware of everything that's going on cuz he's going to notice everything. So,
exactly, and he puts a different spin on it. Like, you walk through life, do.
yeah, right.
And then he's got a different point of view, like this could be this or this could be that. So it's pretty entertaining. And
Very
honestly, with
cool.
him there, I felt a lot more comfortable just randomly talking to strangers.
Mhm. I bet.
Oh,
So
yeah.
for your readers that are listening, do you want to share what you're working on right now?
Oh gosh, I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming down the line. So Total Bravery is coming out April 2018, finishing up revisions on that. And then, of course, it's going to go through the editing process. So there'll be all sorts of adventures through the rest of the year. Contracted Defense, which is the third book in the Safeguard series, is coming out in September of this year. So anybody who's hungry for the Safeguard series can get that sooner. And it turns out that the whole Safeguard series, at least the first two books, Hidden Impact and Deadly Testimony, have been picked for Harlequin's direct-to-consumer line. So that's coming out in print, and they're re-releasing the books in print. So for those who really, really like print, I have a lot of readers who are like, when is the Safeguard series coming out in print? It turns out it is. It's going to be available for ordering online. Won't be in bookstores, but it will be available for ordering online through retailers to get Hidden Impact and Deadly Testimony in print. Contracted Defense comes out September 2017. Total Bravery, the next book in the True Hero series, comes out April 2018. And I do have a novella coming out literally next month, like literally in a couple weeks.
Okay.
The Destination Love set is 5 authors. Eliza Knight, Christy Barth, Misty Waters, and Christina L. and I all put together 5 hot romances for those people who want to go on a vacation, but maybe they can't get time off of work. So they can take the box set and just
Have
go
a
on destination
staycation.
romance. Yes.
Yeah, have a staycation with the romance. Yes.
And that releases on August 1st. 20% of the royalties go to charity. And let me think. And it's right now, if you pre-order, it's only 99 cents for all 5 stories.
Oh, on Amazon, right? Amazon Kindle?
Actually, multiple places. I believe Amazon, Kobo, Nook. I don't know if it's on Google Play, but Barnes & Noble's, definitely.
Okay. Awesome. So there are always writers listening to the podcast, and they're always looking for advice or, recommendations for aspiring writers on how to get published. Do you have any tidbits or, advice you'd like to share with the authors that are looking to get published?
Oh gosh, I should have listened to some of your previous interviews so I can hear what other people said so I don't repeat something. But my thing would be to surround yourself with nifty people. Surround yourself not necessarily with successful people, but surround yourself with people who inspire you and challenge you to keep doing more, whether that's more improvement of your writing craft, whether it's more networking, whether it's more pitching, whether it's finishing more stories while other stories are out on query. But people who, by virtue of the fact that they're moving forward as well, but they're supporting you and they're cheering you on and you get excited for their successes and they get excited for your success. Surround yourself with nifty people who really, really are a positive influence so that you're inspired to keep doing more.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's true, though. You always want people who are supporters, not, the opposite. So, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about Coastal Magic. That's what brought us here together today.
Yay!
Yeah. Is this your first time going to Coastal Magic?
It is. And I'm so excited because I had heard about Coastal Magic back when it got started, but that was right around the time that I was just starting to transition over to romantic suspense and contemporary. And I really thought Coastal Magic was only for paranormal and for sci-fi and for fantasy. So it wasn't a match for what I was writing, and I didn't think that the readers would really be interested in my books. But then more and more bloggers were hitting me up and saying, no, Coastal Magic definitely has other genres as well, and we know that the readers would love to meet you. So I reached out this year and asked if they'd be interested in having me, and here we go.
I love Coastal Magic. This will be my second time attending, and my first year was last year, and I had a blast. So I think you'll have a great time with the readers and the other authors. It's just a great group of people.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've heard nothing but good things from the authors that I know that have already attended.
Mm-hmm. So have you been to the Daytona Beach area? That's where this takes place.
I've not been to Daytona. I've been to Orlando. I'm kind of a Disney buff. Definitely a Harry Potter geek too. So I've been to the Orlando area, and I've been to the Miami area for day job, believe it or not. But I've not been to Daytona.
Oh, it's a fun little quaint little area. So I think you'll like it. It was a nice place to relax. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not so hustle and bustle. It's kind of like, oh, you can actually relax.
Slow down. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Exactly. Awesome. So are you going to be, doing the panels and participating in all that stuff?
I volunteered to do so. I'm not sure what the programming is yet, but I really hope that I'm chosen for panel. Okay. Also the signing, and I'm going to try to make sure to be available either during the programmed times that, hosting dinners and breakfasts and events and author events and stuff like that, or just, I always try to make myself available, especially around meal times, like out at the bar or in the restaurant areas. So please come say hi.
Come say hi. Okay, I know I will. You'll see me around since I have to moderate some of the panels, so you'll definitely see me around. And the bar is a great place to be, so maybe I'll grab a drink with you.
And I try not to push too many adult libations because there are, out of respect for some people who don't drink, but you can still come to the bar and have like club soda or a soda with me. No judgment.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So are there any other cons that you're doing leading into Coastal Magic? Since that's in February, it's a little ways away. Are you going to be anywhere else?
Actually, this year, 2017, I ended up taking off from most conventions and conferences due to medical reasons. But I am teaching on the Writing Excuses writing workshop and retreat, which also is a cruise every year. So I will be cruising the Baltic Seas in Europe at the end of this month into August with the Writing Excuses team and approximately, I think, between 150 and 250 aspiring authors, giving a little get back, paying it forward, and doing a lot of teaching, as well as making myself available for novel critiques and guided writing experiences. I'll be leading a bunch of those for the aspiring authors.
Wow, that's very cool, and a really nice area to be cruising as well. Very nice.
It'll be my first cruise in Europe. Usually, Writing Excuses previously has been in the Caribbean. So this is kind of an amazing experience. I was not going to say no.
Oh, I know, right? I understand. Well, I think that's it. Outside of the lightning round, do you have anything else you'd like to share about your books before we jump into that?
I think we covered it, right? So if we go in what's coming soonest order, we got Destination Love coming out August 1st, 99 cents. Go pre-order. Well, depending on when this podcast comes out, go grab that. And then there's Contracted Defense coming out in September. That's going to wrap up the Safeguard series. And then there's True Heroes continuing April 2018. So super excited about that.
Awesome. So you guys, all of PJ's links are going to be in the show notes. You can just click there and find her on social media, and you can click there and find her books as well. So that's that. So it's down there. Okay, so you ready for the lightning round?
I don't know how lightning I'm going to be, but I'll try.
Okay, so basically it's just 60 seconds, 60 questions. Don't worry, no one ever answers 60 questions, but I just throw it in there.
Like back to when I took the military ASVAB and they had like this simple math thing and you do as many problems as you can in 2 minutes. Oh, God.
Yeah. No, this is easier. So some questions are open-ended and some requires you to pick one or the other. So the only rule I have is you must pick one or the other. You can't say neither and you can't say both because I think those are cop-outs. So
I cop out a lot.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So you ready?
I will do my best for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'll hit my little timer so we don't go over. All right, you ready to start?
Yep.
Okay. Physical books or ebooks?
Oh, physical books, unless I'm traveling.
Hero or villain?
Hero.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Name a book that you've read in one sitting.
Oh, anything by Patricia Briggs. Anything by Patricia Briggs.
I love her. Beer or wine?
Wine.
Book that you faked read.
Faked read?
Yeah, I read it, but you didn't.
Atlas Shrugged. College.
Milk
Scored
chocolate?
an A on the test. Sorry.
Oh, well, that's good. Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Vampires or werewolves?
Werewolves.
Name your favorite place to read.
Anywhere. Bed.
Oh, okay. Dogs or cats?
Oh, dogs.
Cake or pie?
Both. Pie.
What's your favorite alcoholic mixed drink?
Old fashioned.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Android or Apple?
Droid.
Yay! Name your favorite food.
I will eat it as long as it's actually dead.
Okay,
good. Have to be cooked. I will eat it raw, but it has to be dead.
It has to be dead. Okay, that sounds like a fair answer, and that makes our 60 seconds. I'm glad you said that. I mean, I wouldn't even think that it should be dead, but yes, it should be dead. That's awesome.
I've been served some interesting delicacies, and they've moved. There's moved because you put soy sauce on it, and it triggered like the musculature to move, and then there's moved because it's looking at you and knows what's going on.
Oh, both of those are bad. Yeah,
I just can't. Well, I'll eat it if I know it's dead. Right, so if they're just pouring soy sauce on it to freak you out, then no, you're not going to get me with that shock factor.
Oh, but that's so awesome.
If I look at it and it looks back, I think to myself, I don't want to die like that either.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's just karma. I'm like, that's just karma. No.
Yeah, don't eat anything alive. I concur, totally.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a blast. So thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're definitely welcome. If you enjoyed today's interview and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. First, you can head on over to iTunes and give a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow the Shelf Addiction Podcast on Spreaker, the only place where you can listen live and get broadcast notifications so that you never miss an episode. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy bookish topics. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon with another author interview. Until next time, happy reading.